In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to field strip and clean your Springfield Echelon pistol. Now for this demonstration, I'll be using the 4.0 compact model, but this will be the same process for any of the Echelon line. And this will also be the same process if you have the XD or XDM Series 2. Let's go over some cleaning items that I'm going to be using to clean this gun. You can use whatever you want to, whether it's some of those pre-bought kits from the store, or if you want to piece your items together, that's fine. This is kind of what I've come up with over the years of cleaning, what that works for me, but whatever works for you, it's all going to do the same thing. So I will post some links to what you could still find on Amazon down below, but another good source is if you go to Academy Sports, if you have one in your area, Cabela's Bass Pro, and then online, Brownells and Midway USA are some good resources to find some cleaning products for your firearms. So let's start with the cleaning product. I'm going to be using Ballistol. There's so many different kinds out there. They're all going to do the same job. I like Ballistol just because that's what I've used for years and it works. The only thing with this is it does have a smell to it. If you know what I'm talking about, then you get it, but I really like this stuff. So just some sort of cleaning oil. This is a lubricant as well. But then I do have this precision lubricator that I'll show you why I have this. This is just a Hoppe's 9, helps get in some of those fine areas, but just some sort of lubrication. You can also use Ballistol again as well. I'll be using a bore snake for the barrel, but I'll also show you how to use some rods that you might find in a kit. And then some gun patches here. You can find these at the store for whatever caliber you're gonna be cleaning. They're just cut up in these little squares here. You can also cut up some old t-shirts, rags, or even use paper towels, whatever works best for you, but that's what I'm gonna be using. And then I highly recommend getting some sort of tech mat, because as you'll see, I am working on just my office desk here, so I don't want any of the oils or anything getting to the actual tabletop itself, and that's what these tech mats do. They absorb all the oil, and I'll show you at the end here. I'm going to spray directly on the tech mat, and it's not going to show up on the table at all, so that will help protect the surface you're working on, but also protect your gun from getting scratched up too. So they come in all sorts of different sizes. I just like these bigger ones with more surface area to work with. That's what I'll be using, so let's jump into it. First thing you're going to want to do is safety check the gun. So we're going to hit the magazine release right here, drop the mag, and then we're going to pull the slide back, check the chamber, and it is empty. So the next thing we're going to do is actually lock the slide to the rear. So we're just going to pull it back and hit that slide lock button up there just like that. And then you'll see on the side here that there is this takedown lever. We're going to turn that downwards 90 degrees. Now this is a new gun, so it is going to be pretty stiff, but as you break your gun in, it will be easier to get this takedown lever down. So just kind of work getting that down. So there you go. The good thing is it's got this grippy texture that makes it a little bit easier. So you want it down about 90 degrees just like that. And then the next thing we're going to do is just pull the slide backwards again and then slide it forward. And it slides right off. So you don't need to pull the trigger on this model. You just pull it backwards and it slides off. This is about as far down as you need to take the lower. And then moving to the slide here, just take the recoil spring and guide rod out. We're going to push inward a little bit and then it'll pop out. And then we're going to take the barrel, lift that up just like that, and it comes right out. And that's pretty much all you need to do as far as taking it apart for your general cleaning and maintenance. And then it'll go back together the same way. So what I like to do first is I like to start off with coating the barrel down pretty good with the Ballistol. So I'll run it inside, make sure it gets nice and soaked in there. And then I'll just spray the outside of the barrel, get that all nice and soaked. And then I'll kind of put that aside so that way it kind of breaks down any gunk that's on there. And then you don't want to actually spray directly into your slide because you want to keep any crud and stuff out of your firing pin block there. So be careful with that. So what I'll do is I'll just take these rags, spray them down, and then I'll just wipe everything in here. And you kind of want to wipe in this direction, again, because your firing pin block is right there. So if you go in this direction, just be careful not to get any stuff down in there or down in here either. So that's why I just kind of hold it this way and then just coat it with your gun oil here. Now this gun isn't super dirty. I just did that for ease of the video, not to make it super long, but just get that nice and worked in there. And then we'll kind of let that sit as well. And then you really don't need to do anything with the guide rod. If you want to take a paper towel or anything, you could kind of wipe some stuff off of there, but generally these don't get dirty, so you don't really have to worry about that. So we'll set that aside and we'll kind of move on to the lower while those are working. So your frame here, Not a whole lot to do as far as cleaning it. Sometimes it will get dirty. So what I'll do is I'll take a rag and spray it down and then just kind of wipe some of these components in here. You may notice a little bit of dust back here or gunk towards the trigger. And then there might be a little bit of stuff in here. You'll notice it kind of turning black on your rag here, but just kind of work this stuff around. And then what I'll do is from there is then I will take clean dry cloths and just keep wiping everything down until everything is clean. Now, how far you clean your gun is completely up to you. I like mine to where I'm not really getting any black or gunk coming on these, so I like mine pretty clean. Kind of up to you, so if you just want to do a quick wipe down, that's fine. Now you'll notice in some of these areas it's kind of hard to get into with my fingers. So what I like to use are these picks here. You can get these at the gun stores or online. They're pretty cheap, but they're just plastic picks that you can actually use to work the rag in some of the areas. So you just kind of move around in here. And then just get it as clean as you want to. Like I said, you could take some more dry patches as that one gets dirty, and then just keep working everything until all that crap comes off. All right, so for me, that's pretty good. Just get that as clean as you want to. So I'm gonna put that aside. Now moving on to the slide, since that's been sitting and soaking and doing its thing, breaking everything down. If there's a lot of gunk in here, they make brushes that you can actually scrape down. So if you wanna, I actually left mine downstairs, I didn't bring it up, but just kind of take that brush and kind of brush out the gunk that's in there, some of the buildup. Make sure you try not to get any in your firing pin block or anything. So just kind of take the brush and wipe that down a little bit if it's a lot of stuff. And then from there, what I'll do is I'll start taking more patches, wetting them down after you brush that out, and then just run them through here to get some of that extra crud out. And then this is the process that we're gonna do, is just kind of a clean one, dry one, until you get it as clean as you want to. And another thing with this pick is just to get in some of these areas, like some of the corners and stuff where you can't reach with your fingers, you can actually take the pick and kind of run along those corner areas. And even in these slide rails here, you can take the patch and then just run that through like that. Clean up some of the rails. So again, just for demonstration purposes, my gun isn't that dirty, but yours might take a little bit longer, especially if this is your first time cleaning a handgun. Just take your time. It's kind of fun and honestly gives you something to do and kind of learn about how your gun works and stuff like that. And you'll kind of see where the wear points are, which we'll want to pay attention to when we lubricate this as well. But just keep taking dry cloths after you got most of the gunk out of there, and then just wipe it down until everything is dry in here. And again, don't be afraid to use those picks if you need to get in some certain areas. So just get that nice and clean as you would like. And then what I'll do is I'll take a paper towel and then just kind of wipe the whole slide down the outside in case there is any stuff. All right, so that's looking pretty clean. So we will set that aside as well and move on to the barrel. So what I'm gonna do is, since we coated the outside with the ballistol, I'm actually gonna wipe that down now, just with that same paper towel. All right, so for cleaning the inside of the barrel, depending on what you have, some gun kits will come with these rods. Usually they're longer for rifles. If you own a Glock, you know what this is. This is a Glock cleaning rod, or you can use the Boomstick, which I like. I'll show you how to use this because this is gonna take some of the other stuff out of the way, but I do have a kit here with just some miscellaneous parts. So I do have a brush, and then you can take some of these end clips here, depending on the size of your gun. You can use these, but I'm just gonna use this one since everything's attached. But what you would do is just screw it on the end like that, which that doesn't fit this one, so that's why I'm gonna use this one. But just screw it on the end. And then you're going to take your barrel and then just run that brush through, and it's going to get all that crud off of there. Just a few times is enough. And then you can take that brush off, set that aside. And then that's when you can start taking your patches and put it through that hole. Just like that. And then you could start running these down through the barrel as well. I like to take the patch out at the end so you're not running that stuff back through there. And depending on how dirty your barrel is, you may need to take another rag and then spray it down and just run it through there again. Does not hurt anything. So just take a wet patch here and we're going to run it through. And pretty much you would do this and then take a dry one until you get it as clean as you can. So after you get the next wet one there, take some dry cloths and just run them through there several times. I know I just pulled that back through, but you can do that once it starts getting pretty clean. So just, you would run it through there just like that. And then, so that's that way if you have just those rods. But if you have a bore snake, what I like about this is it's kind of all in one. So it has it for each caliber. So this is the caliber for these handgun models. So what you would do is, again, spray down the inside of the barrel, and then you're just going to take it and literally run it through, just like this. And you'll see at the end here, it does have that brush that we just did manually. And then the rest of the snake will just kind of get all that crud out of there. So really, you just have to run this through maybe a couple, 2 or 3 times. And then this acts as just getting that junk out of there, the crud with the brush, and then just cleaning it up with that. If you want to, if your gun is super dirty, you could kind of wipe down the outside of the bore snake if you want to. But then you'll notice once you look in the barrel, once everything is nice and clean and shiny, this is much faster. With handguns, it's not that big of a deal just because the barrel's so small. But if you're working with a long gun, the bore snake will definitely be a game changer as far as the time it takes. So I definitely recommend, especially if you're doing rifles, using the bore snake. But you can also use it like I do with these handguns. Makes it a lot more convenient and less stuff on the table there. All right, so after you've cleaned the inside of the barrel, I will give it another wipe down with just a paper towel. And as you shoot your gun, and the more you shoot it, you'll notice like some buildup around here. Just go ahead, and if you need to take a brush, whether it's the nylon or they also have some metal bristle ones, just kind of anywhere there's carbon buildup, just go ahead and use that brush and get that off. You may want to do that before you run the bore snake through there, so that way you don't have to worry about stuff getting down your clean barrel. But that's something else. Again, this is a new barrel, so there's not a whole lot of buildup on there. But if you do see that, just use that brush to kind of brush that off, or you may be able to get it with breakdown of the oil and just rub it down with patches. So not a whole lot to it. So just once your barrel is clean on the inside and out, that is it. All right, so now we are going to lubricate the gun before we put it back together. Again, I'm going to be using this Hoppe's 9 lubricating oil with this precision thing here. They make several different versions of this, like different companies make it. I think it's a lot easier, or you can just use one with a droplet. But why I like the precision one is for the slide, and I'll show you here. So there's not a whole lot of spots that you need to actually lube the slide up or anything. Now, as you shoot the gun, if you see any wear spots in here where it starts wearing away the finish, put a little bit of drop of oil there and kind of rub it in just to keep that area lubricated. But since this one is pretty new, I'm just going to run a little bit of oil through the slots where the rail goes. So it's kind of hard to see on the camera, but that's where this precision comes in, because you can just run it all the way. Just a little light coat, not a whole lot, just like that. Now, if you have the Hoppe's 9 dropper to where it just has a dropper end, you can actually just put a drop or two of the lubricant here and hold it this way, and it'll just run down like that. But it's just a little bit easier to get in those areas with this precision one right here. And that's really it. You don't want to get any lubricant back inside this block here. Again, not stay away from your firing pin block. So that's pretty much all you need in your slide. But if you see a little bit of wear here, it can't hurt to put anything right there. So just pay attention to that. You might see some wear, drop of oil or two right there, but just keep it away from inside here. Now for the frame, Not a whole lot of areas as well, but I am going to kind of put a little bit back here towards the trigger where that spring is on this block. And then I'm also going to put some right here because this is where what slides onto the rails of the slide. So I might just put a drop right there as well. That's pretty much all you need for the lower. And then the barrel, you'll start seeing some wear marks on the barrel, probably down here and up here. So what I like to do is I just honestly just put a coat of oil on the whole outside, just like that. Anywhere you're going to see some wear right here where your guide rod goes. So just a light coat. These guns don't take a whole lot of oil or lubricant, so don't need to overdo it, but I just kind of do the whole outside of the barrel just like that. Very light coat. If you get too much on there, just take a cloth, wipe a little bit of the excess off of there if you need to, but that should be pretty good. And that's it. And now we are ready to put this thing back together. So to put it back together, we're just going to reverse the process that we did to take it apart. We're going to take our slide here and take our barrel, and we're just going to drop in just like that. And it will lock into place as you drop it in there. See, just like that. So it'll lock into place just like that. And then you're going to take your recoil spring and guide rod. And then there's a smaller end right here and the bigger end right here. The smaller end goes inside right here. And then this is going to sit on your barrel right there. So all you got to do is throw it in and just give it a little bit of pressure to put it on, and it'll sit just like that. So in case you have some trouble with it, I'll show you again. Just not a whole lot of pressure to put it in, but just make sure it is straight, just like that. Next thing we're going to do is just put the upper slide and the lower frame here together, and we're just going to line up slide rails. You'll see the slot right here where these are going to slide in, and then slide it all the way back and lock it to the rear like we did before, just like that. And this is where we're just going to push this 90 degrees back that way. And then again, just push it back a little bit, release your slide lock and let it go forward, and that's it. And then what I like to do is rack the slide a few times just to get that lubricant working through in the gun. You'll definitely feel a noticeable difference. A lot easier to rack that slide. And then for a function test, I'll pull the trigger, and then while I'm holding the trigger, I'll rack the slide and then release the trigger, listening for that reset right there. So that just lets us know that everything is working properly. And then put your magazine back in. And then if you got a bunch of oil on the gun here, you could just take another rag and then just wipe down the outside, especially if you don't wear gloves. It could get on the gun, but just wipe it down just like that. Now, one final thing I like to do, especially if it's got a gun that I'm not going to be shooting for a while, I like to take this silicone cloth right here and just wipe down any of the metal parts on the outside, because if you have like a gun that's blued and there's some wear spots, and then you just touch it with your fingers and you let that sit in your safe for a while, those areas could potentially show rust. I see that a lot on like older revolvers with a blued finish that's kind of given way, that's just been sitting for a long time. It starts to kind of rust. So to prevent that, if you're not going to be shooting it for a while, I'll take this. It basically just has a light coating of gun oil, and anywhere there's just where your hand prints wear, and you really don't need to put it on the plastic parts, just on anywhere metal is on your gun. So on the slide here, just give it a light coating, nothing too crazy. And then that just helps protect the finish from rusting, having those oils from your fingers causing it to rust. So I would just then take it, put it in my safe or a case or wherever I'm going to store it, just like that. So if you have a revolver or some gun that's all metal, I like to put that because it gives it a nice shiny finish, but also protects the gun from rusting over a long period of time too, from those oils. And then again, if you accidentally touch it and stuff like that, just wipe it down. And then once you want to take it out to the range, it's easy just to take a paper towel or a dry cloth, wipe that off, and you're good to go. So I know this Echelon and probably a lot of the other ones that are coming out now don't actually come with a physical manual to where you can look up how to clean the gun and take care of it. It did come with a QR code that you just take a picture and it'll take you to the page where you can kind of search for the information you need on the gun. hopefully that helped you out. If you have any questions, let me know. But if you have the XD series with these as well, and pretty much any modern pistol is going to clean the same way. It might field strip a little bit differently, but the cleaning process is pretty much the same with any modern handgun. So if you like this video, hit that like and subscribe button. It does help the channel out and completely free to you. But if you're looking for more videos on how to field strip and clean other guns, check out this playlist right here. Or if you want to learn more about the tactical gun wall behind me, check out this video right here.